Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's Careers in the Cloud. I think you guys know me by now. Hopefully you do. I go by the name of Hemi. I'm joined by my gracious host, Nick. Nick, how you feeling?
Excited. I know I say it for every episode, but no, this one is I know they're all special in specific way because obviously we have there's always a background story for the person actually joining us on the call. So yeah, 100% excited for our guest today.
Do you know what? We met this person a few weeks ago. They actually attended quite a big event that Nikki put together with Greenwich University. We've been seeing what this person and the company that he actually takes care of have been doing in the ecosystem. You're going to hear about that more. But I think just speaking to him, understanding his journey, made us want to get him on here, especially for anyone who's starting out in Salesforce and has aspirations to get to CEO or to be a boss one day. This guy is the blueprint. On that note, it's our pleasure to introduce the legend that is Dahir Nemri. Dahir, how are you doing, man? How are you?
Thank you very much. I'm doing very well, thank you. Glad to be
Good to
here.
see you again, even if it's virtually. We don't have any drinks in our hand, but look, me and Nikki got to know you a lot, and I think I've come across you in the ecosystem over the last 8, 10 years. I've seen the growth, what you've done. But for those that don't know, just give us a brief intro into you and what your life has been like so far within Salesforce.
Sure, yeah. So, wow. So my journey started working for one of the biggest platinum partners in the UK. They're called Make Positive. I started there as a graduate a long time ago. I'm not going to reveal how many years ago. You can find out on LinkedIn. It was a while back. So I started, we were working, we had an account at Thomson Reuters, one of the biggest financial services in the world, and they were working on Oracle Siebel. And they decided to move from Oracle into Salesforce. That was 2008. And in 2008, we all were steered to go and learn Salesforce. It was booming. It was at the beginning of the journey, and it was the new hot CRM in the market. So I did my first ADM 201 in 2008, and I started working at Salesforce in Salesforce ecosystem, doing a bit of testing, bit of configuration from 2008 all the way until I was a business analyst, lead business analyst, project program manager, and then working at Make Positive, delivered a couple of big enterprise projects for Marketing Cloud with the practice lead of Make Positive at the time. His name is Leon Short. And we decided to branch out and start SAMA. So SAMA stands for Specialist at Marketing Automation. And we wanted to be the new partner that focuses solely on Marketing Cloud. So we wanted to be the sushi restaurant that only does sushi. But as you know, in the ecosystem, it's not that. So we are now expanding and doing a lot more on the core technologies. And yeah, we're expanding to cover every aspect of Salesforce because that's what the clients need and want. Yeah, really exciting time.
What a journey so far, man. We'll deep dive more into it. I know Nick has some pressing questions along with me, and obviously, look, we met you and your team. Katie, who, if people don't know, leads delivery for SAMA, and came across so well. Her understanding, which is testament to you and the team and Leon as well. The one thing I was going to ask, right? You saw graduates that day. We see the biggest problem right now, which is a problem in a way, that there's a lack of talent coming in given the high demand. We need more people within the ecosystem, especially at a junior level. What was it like for you to hear when you were starting out as a fresh grad within Make Positive? As you rightly said, for those that don't know Make Positive, if you've been around Salesforce or the ecosystem, these guys literally exploded into the market and were one of the top partners, and they still do really well right now. But at that time, they had some of the best, including you coming up those ranks. But what was it like at that time? Like the good, the bad? What were the things that you were facing coming in as a younger Dahir? You're still young, but as a younger guy.
I'd say the biggest challenge back then was a lot of organizations didn't still trust the cloud technology, didn't want to have their data on the cloud, specifically banks. So most of the big partners back then weren't really specializing in Salesforce because it wasn't the top technology back then. A lot of people had reservations about my data is going to be on the cloud. GDPR wasn't as strict as it is today, but still there was a concern about data. So the new technology was, It was very exciting because it moved from having servers, client servers, having everything on premise, having engineers coming in to do any small changes. From that, moving on to everything is on the cloud. Everyone can work from home. Everyone can log in from anywhere. That was a big shift in the market. For me as an individual, it did make my life a lot easier because configuring Salesforce is more fun, is a lot easier, and again, you can do it remotely. I'm half Greek, so I like to spend a lot of my time in Greece. And if I wasn't working within the Salesforce ecosystem, I wouldn't be able to. So it's yeah, it was, and it's genuinely a lot easier, yeah, to learn it, work with it, configure it, and excel at it. You don't need to have a strong development background to be able to be a good consultant. There is a many aspects within the Salesforce ecosystem where even if you are a good business analyst, having a good knowledge of Salesforce will make you progress a lot quicker than most other technologies because you need to know a lot more.
Makes sense.
Speaking about progress, you've been around the Salesforce ecosystem so much. Where do you see as a ecosystem, as a platform, kind of evolving over time and going? What are your kind of visions for the future?
To be honest, we like to follow Salesforce's trend. So at the moment, they're heavily investing in obviously Customer 360, adding more technologies to give organizations the ability to know everything about their clients, their partners. I think where Salesforce is heading now, they are focusing a lot more on Commerce Cloud. This is something new in the Salesforce ecosystem. The marketing aspect, Marketing Cloud or the marketing area is also something that, I mean, Salesforce acquired ExactTarget, I want to say 7-8 years ago. Then they acquired Datarama 3 years ago. They acquired Evergage, which is Interaction Studio. So they are investing heavily in the marketing area of Salesforce, which is why we're doing what we're doing. And I think the next trend is Commerce Cloud / Tableau. Basically, anything Salesforce acquires, they acquire it because they know there's a huge gap in the market, and that creates a lot of opportunities for anyone who's about to start. Core CRM is the core technology. Everyone needs to know it. There's never going to be lack of jobs in that area. But for someone who wants to specialize and be, instead of one of a million, one of 1,000, then you need to pick up one of these new technologies that Salesforce acquired and try and be ahead of the curve because, yeah, they're going to push Commerce Cloud to all their installed base, and that will create a lot of jobs in the Commerce Cloud space, for example. But I mean, that doesn't mean there aren't enough jobs today in core CRM. There's plenty to do there, and that usually is a starting point. You need to know the core technology to be able to know where to go next. So I think that's where Salesforce as an organization is heading, and I think that's where most of the career opportunities will arise.
Oh, it makes sense. It makes sense. And look, one thing that a lot of people I speak to, especially I think the newer generation, is they want to be their own bosses, which, is admirable. I think times have changed where people just want to work for an employer. They want to start their own. They want to have side hustles. They want to have financial freedom. For you, becoming a CEO, and we'll go into that as we go on. But when was that point in your time and your mind where you were working for Make Positive? You worked your way up through the ranks. You went from this graduate to someone who was highly successful, and we see it a lot in Salesforce, those that go perm and they stay perm for the rest of their lives. What was the turning point for you to hit? Like, what made you get to that point where you decided, you know what, I actually want to start my own Salesforce consultancy?
I guess I fell in love with Marketing Cloud, to be honest, as a technology. I thought it is a brilliant technology. And when I was a program manager on that project, and the practice lead went on his honeymoon and we had to backfill him, that's when the light bulb went on. There was no one in the market who can fill that position. It was very expensive. You can't find anyone who's available. So it was an obvious gap in the market that no one is fulfilling. No one was fulfilling at the time. So we thought, well, we know how a Salesforce partner operates. We've been doing it for a long time. We've delivered many projects. There is a gap in the market there. So why not try it? What's the worst that could happen? in the Salesforce ecosystem, you know, once you have the experience, there's never going to be lack of jobs. So there's no harm in trying. If it goes well, and if it doesn't, there's always other opportunities and other things to do. So worst case scenario, you lose a year, you lose 2 years, but you enjoy the journey, you learn a lot, you meet a lot of people, like I did with you two, and yeah, it's about the journey, not the destination.
Speaking about talents, and that was obviously one of the reasons why we got introduced to each other and how we met. And thank you again for joining our event. How do you see the current situation with talents? You mentioned that there's obviously still loads of jobs, but how do you see that situation? And most importantly, how does Sama get along with retaining people, making sure that they're qualified, they actually attracted? What do you do?
I guess because we are still a small consultancy, everyone matters, everyone knows everyone. It's different than being in a big machine and working for an organization that has 55,000 people. If you don't turn up one day, not many people will notice. So having, that's being the big fish in a small pond, let's just say, where we give the opportunity to everyone to do more than one thing because we're a small organization. So our consultants do get involved a little bit in sales, a bit in marketing, and of course, delivery. So providing them with a fun, nice environment where they have a good career progression, good mentors, and full flexibility in terms of remote working is something that's very attractive. And obviously, we always encourage to progress and learn more, and we provide certs, training. So retaining is being in the services industry as a Salesforce partner. People is really the business. So you need to make sure that one, you attract the right people, and two, you invest heavily in retaining them. A good quote I read is, "Customer should be number one." But in reality, your employee should be number one, because if the employee is not happy, your customer won't be happy. So focusing more on the employees to make sure that they're happy, satisfied, progressing is what ultimately will result in huge success to the clients and internally. So yeah, just giving them a nice, fun environment, career progression, and making sure that they are not bored is very
I don't
important.
think they could ever be bored with you, Dahir. I think after spending a few hours with you, honestly, you've got. I see why you've done what you've done, and why you are a good CEO. And on that, I was going to ask you, for anyone that's watching right now and they have that aspiration to start their own consultancy, or even just to get in IT, and obviously you've done contracting as well, where you found it highly lucrative and you did really well in that. What are the biggest learns that you've taken away from starting your own business? Like, if you could share 3 top tips that you went through that you wish someone would have told you at the time, what would you say to someone watching right now who has that same vision to start their own business?
I'd say the first one and the most important one is identify your weaknesses and get people to help fill that gap and bridge that gap. It's a team effort. No one can do everything on their own. And identifying where I personally need help and hiring people to support and help with that areas that I'm not great at is definitely one of the most important things that I can recommend. Surrounding yourself with the right people and the right talent is also very important. And the third one, I would say, is ensuring you deliver great quality, because reputation is everything. The brand is the reputation. We are very proud to say that all our reviews are 5 out of 5 on the App Exchange. We never had a customer who gave us 4.9. If we were on Amazon, we would definitely come up top. But with Exchange. So we do go above and beyond to make sure that we deliver great quality, because that's how you get more business and that's how you get repeated business. If we do one good project, then the word will spread that Sama are great, delivered on time, on budget, great experience. Why would they not recommend us? But trying to make revenue or try to cut corners, let's say, to save some money and just make small profit on one deal now without thinking of the long-term impact of what that means is something that is very tricky. It's always the balance between, well, we need the revenue now. On the other hand, if you don't deliver good work and the customer is not happy, it will impact you negatively in long term. So yeah, I would say that. Yeah. And surrounding yourself with the right people, because we've been lucky to be in the ecosystem for 13 years. We have come across a lot of people from every background, every country, every culture, every skill set, and identifying the right people who share the vision and want to enjoy the journey and be here for the journey is also very important, because I'm sure you know, it costs, a bad hire will cost a lot more than just the cost. It's the time,
100%.
And it's not fun for anyone to come and just leave within a month or two. So luckily we have high retention, and people who join us love it, they stay and they grow with us. So creating a nice environment is also very important, because the people is the business.
100%. Speaking about Sama, and you've touched this point on global Salesforce trends, but what are the plans for Sama in the upcoming future? Something you can share, of course, with all of us. What's happening with you guys?
So Salesforce are introducing something called full stack. So as a marketing specialist agency, we are gonna be covering all the marketing technologies, make sure we get the full stack stamp, as you like, to become officially specialist at marketing automation. So that is one of our key future plans. We are also developing an app internally. I can't really say much, but at some point it will be announced, and that's something we're doing in the background. We're trying to juggle between making sure we deliver great quality of service and building an app that we know there's a need for it in the market. So more to come on that a bit later.
Stay tuned. Big things coming for Sama. But I think obviously your journey, man, has been impressive, and I think people are going to find out if you're in Salesforce, and especially if you're working with marketing automation. Even if you're a customer watching right now and you don't know who to go to, Sama, it seems, has that boutique, personalized, tailored approach. And, I'm sure you guys are going to grow massively. One thing that we like to do is get to know you a little bit more intimately, not that way, but, get to know you as a person. Quick fire round. Don't think, just speak here, just tell us a little bit about who you are when you're not signing the biggest deals or building an app or managing a team, delivering projects. We want to get to know the person behind that. So I think I already know the answer to this one, but favorite destination?
Favorite destination? I mean, I'll be lying if I don't say Greece, and not because I am from Greece. I mean, it's definitely a favorite destination. I am half Greek and half Jordanian, so I did grow up in Jordan and in Greece. I spend a lot of my time traveling between all these countries. Obviously, networking is something that I do regularly for business and for fun. I don't like to say it, but I am kind of a table tennis geek.
That's a cool hobby. Like, I wasn't expecting that.
I know.
We've had some different ones. Like we had someone on, I think, just a few weeks ago, Nick, who was into sharpening knives, which I thought was quite cool.
That's amazing.
Perfumes as well. But look out for here in the Olympics for table tennis representing Jordan or either Greece. Favorite drink? I think I already know the answer to this one as well, having spent a bit of time with you, but favorite drink?
I would like to say old-fashioned or a Negroni to be
nice.
more...
Okay.
Yeah.
Suave. And when you're not working as hard as you do and running a business and managing a team and doing everything that you do, how do you actually relax? How do you de-stress? Is there anything, mental health is such a big thing, especially within men, given everything that's going on in the world. How do you cope with the stress and everything that goes on with this fast-paced environment that we call Salesforce?
I would say exercise is definitely a good one. I started this trend recently. I can't claim I've been exercising all my life, but I recently rediscovered exercise, and it is definitely a great way to cope with the stress, I think taking holidays is extremely important, and just taking a break. And it's something that when you own your own business, or even when you're contracting, it is not top of priority. The top of the priority usually is, grow the business, make more revenue, make more money, sign deals. So it is very important to realize that if you don't take a step back and refresh, then you're not doing yourself any favors, and no one around you wants to be around you if you're grumpy and angry and stressed all the time. So the taking time off is very important. One of our customers is Campaign Against Living Miserably. It's one of the biggest UK charities that support mental health, and there's a lot of great articles on how to cope with stress. And it is an issue in today's world, because especially for men, they don't feel that they can talk about it.
Exactly. And we usually try and disguise it, right? But you're right. When you become a boss, people start to follow your behavior. And I've been part of that, being a leader as well, that not taking holidays was seen as, great. Like you were working hard, you're ruthless, you're relentless, you work all the hours that God sends. But then that burnout is real. And I think it affects your team massively. And not throwing anyone under the bus, Nick, but you've got a lot of holidays left, and I think you need to take a few.
I am planning.
Nikki's listening to that. She's like, "Oh, I've got too many holidays." But look, they're here. And honestly, the advice that you've shared, the things that you've told anyone watching today, I think hopefully should help someone. And if you're looking to get into Salesforce, start your own business, even if it's not a consultancy, I think just listening to someone like Dahir and all the good and the bad that you've been through helps, and also the advice. But look, thanks for coming, joining us. I hope the next one that we have is going to be in person, and we'll do a part 2. There's going to be plenty more events. If you need any more information, please visit Sama's website, check out his LinkedIn, connect with him. We'll share it in the page as well. I think that he's someone that you can naturally reach out to if you just need any advice on Salesforce, and he's growing as well. So hopefully you might be joining his business sometime soon. But Dahir, great having you. We'll end it there. Nick, always a pleasure, never a chore. And we'll see you soon.